All right, well, without further ado, let us begin with the X-Files, everybody. I want to start this X-Files with a little bit of foreshadowing, everybody, because look who was in the house at the Bears game, Nika. Lo and behold, it was one Spike Lee. I was actually caught off guard a little bit by this, and he was rocking an Air Jordan jacket. Surprise, surprise. This was interesting to me. It made me feel like Caleb Williams has impacted the world. You know, if Spike Lee is coming to this game, it's for one reason only. He wants to see if Caleb Williams can pull off some playoff magic for the Chicago Bears. Can he reignite that Michael Jordan 1990s feeling, everybody? He did. The Bears won this game, and in doing so, they now have a winning record versus the Packers all-time, Nika, in their entire history. 2-1. Yep, that's right. We've only played them 3 times. We did a whole documentary about it that you can watch on our channel, so go check that out. It's only 5 minutes long because obviously there's not a lot of games to get through. Well, the Bears own bragging rights now on the Packers, at least until the next season begins. And, you know, when it comes to the playoffs, it could be 15 years again before the next matchup. And
it could be.
So we own that bragging rights for now.
For now.
Which is great. I'm so happy about that. NFL, they added, of course, the cheese grater hat here. That has become a phenomenon here in Chicago. Here is the NFL on ESPN. Absolute cinema. Iceman in the clutch, all caps. Caleb Williams and the Bears pull off a wild comeback versus the Packers. This is my favorite. They were the first ones I saw with the scoreboard changes here in the third and fourth quarter. So yeah, you can see all of the lead changes happening and when they happened. Exciting stuff. Here's DraftKings. Can never ever count out Chicago, and they posted the win probability graphic of the entire game. And as you can see here, it was like pretty much all Green Bay from the first quarter on, only until the end, Nika. And that's why we play 60 minutes. Man, what an ending. I found that ironic that a gambling account was posting that of all things, because you figure that a game like this costs them money, right? And
I would imagine, unless it was fixed. So
maybe they're just encouraging people to keep betting on the Bears because they feel like their luck will run out eventually.
It's been rigged.
Yeah, don't tell Packer fans that. We'll have some angry reactions from them at the end of this, which is kind of funny. In the meantime, let's keep it here on the national media. Howie Long says the Bears have put the entire NFC on notice yesterday on Fox. And of course, Kyle Long, his son, played for the Bears in the Cutler era. Michael Strahan, his sideman there, he's literally in the picture with him. He says Chicago is for real, Nika. He believes in the Bears. One of the most impressive victories in a long time, it says. So good stuff from Michael Strahan in the national media there. Here's NFL Game Day. Michael Robinson's reaction, quote, when the chips are down, he has the ability to do special things that not a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL have the ability to do. And of course, he's talking about Caleb Williams leading the Bears to another come-from-behind victory here. Here is John Franchella. Football, for real. How can anybody not like Caleb Williams? I don't know, Nika. How can anybody?
Packers fans.
He just seems like the nicest kid. You can see how much his teammates and coaches love him. He's very genuine, stays determined, and fights off all the haters. Here, he gives the game ball to Ben Johnson, and I thought my dad would be happy to see this because he really wanted the Bears to win the game against the Lions in the final week of the season and give Ben Johnson the game ball. I think this more than makes up for it.
It does, and somebody listened to our show.
Hopefully Caleb's listening because he can learn a little bit. Just kidding. Colin Cowherd. Caleb Williams is magical. I appreciate Colin because, you know, he always does these instant reactions after the games. And Skip Bayless, not to be counted too short here, says one day Caleb Williams will be the NFL's best quarterback. What a performance by Caleb Williams. It's so nice to see him getting some national media recognition. I want to go back to the John Franchella tweet a little bit and just say how much I appreciate the fact that he's grown in front of the microphone. He speaks more confidently than he did a year ago, and he has just a more poised demeanor. about everything. And I think he's just handled this whole rise of the Bears team with grace. And I think the NFL establishment media respects that out of him. And that's why they are taking to it. He does remind me of Michael Jordan in a way. And I think he's a better football player than people give him credit for when he was coming out of college. He's really the most complete football player the Bears have had since Walter Payton. He can throw the football. He can run. We've all seen him be able to run. And he's even caught a touchdown pass this year. And no one's done stuff like that since Walter Payton as a skills thing. It makes the game more exciting. All right, well, let's turn our attentions now to some of the local media reactions, Nika. Here's Adam Johns from CHGO, of course. He was in the press box. He said, last night was the loudest I ever heard Soldier Field. After Caleb Williams' touchdown pass to DJ Moore, the press box was literally shaking. In my 14 plus years covering the Bears, I've never felt that before. You can see it here in my water bottle. Now, I want to point out that there's not been a lot to cheer about in the last 14 years that he's been there of this magnitude. Probably 2010 when the Bears were playing the Packers in the NFC Championship was the last time it might have been shaking. Here is Ben Devine, Bears insider, talking about a moment that came in the end of the game in the fourth quarter. Caleb Williams on a 4th and 8 rolled out to his, I guess, left. Yeah, rolled out to his left, and he made an improbable throw on 4th and 8 to Rome Odunze down the field. And in the middle of this throw, he literally looks like the Jumpman logo. If you look at the two graphics
from Air Jordan,
they even superimposed the Jordan logo on top of it, and it's really close. You know, this is going to be the play I think that people always remember from this game, more than the DJ Moore touchdown throw. To actually take the lead, because without this play, this game is over. Like, this was the sudden death moment. And the fact that he made such an amazing, improbable throw in that moment, I think it's just going to make the legend grow, everybody.
Okay.
Pete Crow Armstrong was in the house doing the bear claw after the game, rocking a Caleb Williams jersey. And I like to see some Chicago camaraderie kinship here. Here's Lawrence Holmes on the score, everybody. He says, you just witnessed something epic, and it's really hard to disagree with him. I think this is probably the biggest moment I've ever seen in a Bears game in my life that I can remember. I was 4 years old during the Super Bowl, so I don't really have a memory of when it was actually being played. I remember watching the VHS tape my grandma had many times while I was staying at her house. But other than that, you know, like, this has got to be it for me. I think the Devin Hester kickoff return at the beginning of the Super Bowl was probably next, but this moment triumphs that for me. David Haw, this is what a generational quarterback looks like. He said that this morning on the score. Mike Mulligan, his partner, superstar is a good word to describe Caleb Williams and his performance in the Bears' 31-27 comeback win against the Packers in the playoffs Saturday. He took the game over. He was absolutely sensational. Here is Jarrett Payton, of course, the son of Walter Payton. And the post just says tears. And we get the prayer hands, #Bears, bear down emoji. The picture is just quite simply portrayal of heaven with George Hallis, Dick Butkus, Gale Sayers, Brian Piccolo, Walter Payton, and Steve McMichael looking down over Soldier Field. Who knows? Maybe. Good stuff from Jarrett Payton. Right there with you, buddy. Tears indeed. It's been a long time, folks. All right. Well, let's wipe these tears away and turn our attentions to a more entertaining subject, shall we, Nika?
Sure.
Oh, my gosh. Was this handshake between Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur a hot topic, along with the Bears post-game locker room speech? Of course, the good, better, best. Well, it had a little extra wrinkle this week because, as Fox Sports NFL points out here with their tweet, Ben Johnson was feeling the fire after the win last night. And here's the quote in the graphic. F them, effing hate those guys. And he was, of course, talking about the Packers. And he has ignited the entire rivalry all over again, Nika, and brought new life to this. And partly because the Bears are finally fighting for a
Exactly.
change. Some Packer fans had some issues, it turns out, with Ben Johnson, and it seems like they have had issues with him for a while, maybe even back to the Lions days, who knows. Here's Daddy's Lambo. Ben Johnson comes across as one of the least classy head coaches in the NFL right now. The quick, dismissive handshake with Matt LaFleur after the game felt pretty immature, and then yelling F the Packers in the locker room celebration just sealed it. I have no respect for that kind of behavior from someone leading an NFL team. It's not the standard of professionalism and sportsmanship you expect from a head coach.
Really?
Wow, Daddy's Lambo. Clutch your pearls some more. How old are you? Are you over 70? 80?
Maybe. Jeez.
What decade is it, everybody?
50s.
Oh, my goodness. Go Pack Go on Twitter says, he's an effing loser. Rivalry is back, but the head coach is a scumbag that has zero class and is obsessed with talking about Matt LaFleur and the Packers any chance he gets. Fits right in with Bears fans. Yeah, good.
I guess
I want him to be one of us, not one of you. Jeez, what a dumb thing to say.
Ben Johnson is living rent-free in a lot of Packers' heads right now.
Oh, it is beautiful.
That's all.
Jacob at the Cheesehead King says, I don't really care about Ben Johnson saying F the Packers after the win. He's an immature man-child. We've known this since his first press conference. I'm far too concerned about the state of the Packers franchise to care about such things. And just in case you need a reminder, Ben Johnson at his first press conference said, to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
And they did.
That's what they did when they were with the Lions, and that's what the Bears did this year, of course, doing it with the 2 out of 3 variety. Here's Big Cat Williams. He's right there with me. People are heated about Ben Johnson, and I love it. And he's responding to Al Hughes Dukes at Al's Boring Tweets. Remember when Tom Landry would do this after winning a wild card game? Me neither. Coaches used to have class. Now everybody just throws F-bombs around. Total losers. Go paint your QB's fingernails. Somebody sounds a little bitter, Nika. Let's turn our attentions to Dick Vitale, everybody.
Oh, jeez.
He had a problem with Ben Johnson. He says total classless, in all caps, attitude in winning by Ben Johnson, all caps, coach of the Chicago Bears, in the fab comeback to beat the Packers. So at least he acknowledges that the comeback was fabulous. Am I right? Main theme should have been the gutty comeback, not the childish F Packers comments. And then he decided to tag ESPN app in this because, of course, he works for ESPN. But Dick Vitale had a problem with this, everybody. I don't know where to begin with this. Here's Herb Lawrence from Chicago Media. Perhaps he can summarize some of my feelings. Lots of pearl clutching about Ben Johnson saying F the Packers from folks that I know don't shy away from cussing. Grow up, Peter Pan. Kind of agree with Herb on this one. Here's Mark Potash from the Sun-Times. Bears fans would despise Ben Johnson if he were coaching any other NFC North team. I don't think he's wrong about that. He's already the most reviled Bears coach since Mike Ditka, and not coincidentally on a similar path to success. I like this because Mark is sort of semi-implying that the Bears have been lacking this intensity and fire from the head coach for a long time. And it's not to take anything with Lovie Smith or anything away from Lovie Smith, but he was a little bit more mild-mannered as a head coach.
Sure.
Than Ben Johnson and Mike Ditka both were.
Eberflus was dead on arrival. That's what he acted like.
Yeah.
Like a soy boy. I'm sorry.
He was, and Matt Nagy was a first-time head coach who probably
he didn't
learned
have enough knowledge.
He will be better probably as a second-time head coach, I bet.
Absolutely.
Mark my words.
Yeah. And I can see him being a head coach going to either Browns or any other team that's available right now.
Here's Ari Myrov at My Sports Update. The Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur handshake from this angle is even better. And we saw this angle earlier, but a lot of people haven't seen this angle. And he really blew past him quickly. Funny stuff here. And also, I wanted to include Ari's tweet because he had a follow-up this morning from Ben Johnson, who already met with the media this morning and said, Bears head coach Ben Johnson on if there's something personal between him and Matt LaFleur. This is a rivalry. The city of Chicago, Green Bay, it needs to be a rivalry.
Yeah.
That's
the
what Ben
oldest
Johnson.
one.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
I absolutely enjoyed this, and I want to move on to some of the more fun aspects of this win from a Bears fan perspective. And I want to start with Caleb Williams' reaction first. He said, Quote, they wanted us, they got it. I love that he acknowledged that there was some chatter before this matchup coming out of the Green Bay locker room. And for any of the Packer fans out there in denial about this and saying like we started it, you're full of shit. You had some chatter from Josh Jacobs. You know it. I don't want to hear anything other than that. This was a game that they said they wanted and they got it.
How many comments I have seen on our own channel saying the Bears gonna go home after this game.
Tons.
Packers will win. That was the number one comment in a lot of the videos.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to talk about Packer fans in 1 second. And we're going to start with the biggest one, actually, Lil Wayne, of course. For those of you that don't know, Lil Wayne is a huge Green Bay Packers fan, and he did not handle the loss well. Here he is on Twitter, and I'm not even going to read this one. But he obviously has a problem with Caleb Williams and his nails. And but he also acknowledges that the Packers don't deserve to be in the playoffs straight like that. I agree.
Yeah.
You don't. You lost. That means you don't deserve to be in the playoffs no more. But I thought this was funny because Caleb Williams actually responded to this. He said just hashtag snowflake, hashtag nerd, hashtag da Bears.
Perfect.
Funny stuff from QB1. And he wasn't finished, folks. Dave from the Bears film room caught my attention with this little tweet this morning, but he said Caleb Williams used a Lil Wayne song in his latest Instagram post. Just elite trolling here, and I have to agree. Perfect. That is some excellent trolling by Caleb Williams. All right, well, I want to end this X-Files segment with probably my favorite aspect of this whole Bears win, which was seeing the Packer fans melt down in real time while the Bears came back with this improbable win and giving them a taste of their own medicine, as I just said. Here's Matthew S. How do you call a timeout and then come out and have a delay of game? What the F are we doing, dude? And this is, of course, in response to the Packers kind of playing dumb with the clock here at the end of the game. They, of course, had the ball. They were in a position to do some damage, and they called a timeout, which was maybe questionable to begin with. But they came out of the timeout and somehow had a delay of game penalty, which backed them up 5 yards. And then, of course, they missed a field goal. Oops. Big, huge mistake. Can't disagree with you, Matthew S. I don't know what the F they were doing there, but that is something the Bears are used to doing.
Sure.
So it was funny to see you guys do it for once. Matthew S. continued, by the way. I'm not even mad, man. I knew this shit was going to happen when I saw how Matt LaFleur was going to call plays the second half. It's just such a deflating feeling. And yeah, for all the dominance of the Packers in the first half, there was just a lot of 3 and outs in the second half. And they seem to go into this like this thing that kills all sports teams, which is they play not to lose.
That's because they were very confident of a win because they had such a huge lead at the beginning.
They did.
And they didn't exactly play like you said.
They lost their killer instinct a bit. They lost their edge.
Yeah.
Here's Matthew S. in finality saying, get Matt LaFleur the F off my football team. And that seemed to be the general consensus of the Packers influencers, if you will, is that they're mad at the coach.
Of course.
Here's Eli Berkovitz's reaction. It's time for a change in Green Bay. This is from 247sports.com. He wrote, this is title town, not regular season town. And I'm going to push back on Eli a little bit here, Nika. It's not title town anymore. You have 2 titles, buddy, since 1970. You take away Super Bowl 1 and 2, and in the last 55 years, you have 2 championships. You're not title town anymore. I'm sorry. You got to let that go maybe to begin with. Maybe you need to build from the ground up again and let go of this moniker. Like, if we want to be title town again, it's time to start over.
It's the entitlement.
It really is. Just because you won the first 2 Super Bowls does not mean that you're called title town anymore.
Right.
You have 4 Super Bowls out of 59.
That's nothing.
Tom Brady has more on his fingers than you do. So
take that.
Sorry, not sorry. IKE Packers podcast. He wrote, this alone is disqualifying. Packers gave him a chance anyway. 7 years of sample size later, and Green Bay has received nothing but pain, collapse, and underachievement. End the madness. Fire LaFleur today. And I didn't know this. Matt LaFleur was on the sidelines of the Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl and coaching the Falcons, who had the biggest collapse in NFL playoff history, 28-3. They were leading at halftime and lost.
Well, history likes to repeat itself, as we know.
He was not done, folks. He said, under no circumstances should Matt LaFleur be back with the Packers. 2024 season, 1-5 versus the division, charity seed, playoff crash out. Game wasn't even competitive. 2025 season, 0-5 in the last 5 games, charity seed, worst playoff collapse of any team in the league. Fire him today. Here's Jacob Morley. How can you, as Matt LaFleur, look your team in the eye and move forward after this? I don't know. Last but not least, Peter Bukowski, everybody. The QB was awesome and they lost. We've been watching this same movie for 20 straight years with this team, and got to call bullshit on you, Peter. You know why? Because the Packers won the Super Bowl 15 years ago, buddy. So your whole 20 years, straight years math is just bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of this overreaction. Yeah. You won the Super Bowl 15 years ago. Don't lie. Don't lie about it.
It's the new math that they teach nowadays.
It's just horse shit.
It is.
They also won a playoff game in, I think, 2015 over the Dallas Cowboys after a questionable call was overturned on the field of a catch in the end zone. I don't want to hear your shit.
Overreaction Monday. And everybody has their own facts.
I did want to give him credit for pointing this out. He said there's no question Matt LaFleur coaches the game differently with a lead, and the Packers blew a lot of leads this year, everybody, including a lead by 10 in Cleveland to the Browns. And Peter, I got to push back on you on this last tweet. He says the Packers controlled all 3 games. That's what makes it even harder to stomach. Green Bay is better, and the Pack let Chicago off the hook. And he was responding to a tweet with the showed all 3 games and the percentages to win. And if you look at it, I mean, the Packers are clearly dominating all 3 games until the end. And the last 2 graphs go off the charts for them. They go literally Wile E. Coyote off the cliff.
Because their game has 60 minutes in it, not 55, not 58. It's 60 minutes. If you don't play 60 minutes of the game, you're not playing full, complete game.
But can't I also make an argument that the Bears maybe haven't played up to their talent level through a lot of these games also, and that we've seen them be very inconsistent throughout this season? But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It only matters who wins and who loses.
Right.
That's the most important thing, at least.
The Bears don't show up at the first quarter or second quarter. They show up later. They are always late.
Oh, we'll be talking about it. Here's Jacob the Cheese King. Okay, I actually am going to log off for a few weeks or more now, unless the team actually does fire Matt LaFleur. I'm not hopeful. See y'all after the playoffs or whatever. And I think a lot of Packers fans should take Jacob the Cheese King's advice and just log off. Take a break.
Why? It's entertaining.
Yeah, but I mean, they said their piece, and take a break.
Yeah, of
take
course.
A mental break. It's not good for your health. All right, yes. You need to decompose. You need to do something different than football for a change, maybe, and then kind of come back with a fresh set of eyes. Everybody.
Thank you. Good advice.
All right, with that, Nika, it is time for our next segment: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everybody from this game.